Welcome to the People, Passion, and Purpose podcast, where you will hear from creative small business owners in the trenches every single day, talking story, talking lessons, talking failures, talking truth. I'm your host, Nina L. Kovner. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, Celeste Gonzalez, to the podcast. Celeste is a hair and makeup artist, salon owner, educator, and soon-to-be new mama. Welcome, Celeste.
Hi, Nina. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited for people to hear your story. So let's just dive in because I have a ton of questions for you. So for context, as always, how did you find the beauty business? How long have you been a stylist and an owner and educator? Kind of share your how did you find this world story?
So I'm going to be a licensed cosmetologist for 2 years in October of this year.
2 years? That's it?
That's it. I know. Everybody gets done.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to do like a short little story. So I was actually in the insurance business and I was an office manager for like 7 years. And then I went into the school side of things and I worked in an elementary school with kids. And then after an unfortunate event, I went through this whole like harassment thing and it really hit me hard. And I kind of like was in a really dark place. And I really loved watching makeup, like makeup tutorials. Like they would just make me happy and like playing with colors. So I decided to go to a beauty con in LA and fly by myself. And I'm terrified of flying. And when I was there was just something that clicked. That I was like, you know what? Like I need to be doing this. Like this is what I'm supposed to do next.
Oh my gosh.
So I turned 30 and I was like, you know what? Like I know I'm 30 years old, but fuck it. I'm just going to go to beauty school and see what this is about and start a new career.
Wow. I love that.
So once I was in beauty school, I was different from the beginning. I tend to like overthink things. So I always wanted to know the why of things, not just tell me how to do it, but why I need to do it. And I started researching more about education. So 3 months in, I actually found out about Lisa. You know, Lisa loves balayage.
Yes, we love Lisa.
Love Lisa. And I started watching her lives and I took her class. And I just like found like this passion like in my heart for education. So I started taking a whole bunch of education and I graduated. And I loved using like the Malibu Sea products. And I would just, tag them. And I just like loved that it was vegan, because I suffer from migraines. So anything that's natural is like, I'm like, yes, let's go towards it. If I don't have to use a chemical, I'm like super happy. And it kind of just happened. Like they had an opportunity. Hey, if you want to apply to become an educator, submit your resume. I submitted it. I did like a little like kind of like interview thing and they accepted me and I became an educator.
Oh my gosh. So you started all of this advanced education while you were still in beauty school?
Yes. So I would go to all these classes, most of them by myself with all this like seasoned, artists. And then you get intimidated because everybody's like, oh, how long have you been doing hair? 8 years, 15, 20. Yeah. How about you? I'm in beauty school.
Oh my God. I love that. And you know what? I did not know this. I just fucking love this podcast just for so many reasons. But the biggest reason is getting to know people that I feel like I know, getting to know you even better. And what an inspiration to anyone listening to this right now that's in beauty school or even thinking about going to beauty school. And Celeste, I don't know if you know this, but my whole career happened because my second month of beauty school, I went to a hair show and found my purpose.
What?
Yes, I was my second month of beauty school. We took a bus to New York. I went to beauty school in Virginia. We took a bus to New York to the International Beauty Show. And I got off the bus and left the group. I was all by myself and I was just walking around like, oh my God, what is all of this? And I found the Paul Mitchell booth. And That was in 1987. And I spent my entire career with Paul Mitchell up until 2009
That's awesome.
because of taking that step. So I love that we share that story. That is so inspiring. And it leads me to my next question for you. So that's perfect. So your passion for furthering your education is inspiring. I watch it. It seems like every time I see you posting, you're at some sort of advanced education event, and all the while being an educator yourself, as you said. So I have some questions about this whole world. So why is it that advanced education is so important to you?
Because as a regular consumer, because I'm so much more newer to this, I remember there was this one time I went to a salon and I went to go get a blowout, and there was steam coming out. And I thought the stylist was burning my hair. I did not know, water and heat and, that's where steam comes from and all the products. And so I felt like there was a lot of lack of being able to explain to your clients why things happen. And just I had those thoughts when I was sitting in the chair. I wanted to be able to give that to my guests and to my clients, give them that education. But I needed to know myself why things were happening. And that's where my feel really came from, is really wanting to educate the guests that sit in my chair. How
do you budget for all of these classes? Because it's no secret, some of the classes that you're taking and are not quote unquote cheap. And I know that so many people, especially early in your career, people struggle with, I would love to go to this, or I would love to go to that, or whatever, but it's just so expensive, or I can't afford it. How do you, what is some of your advice for budgeting for this type of high value, high quality advanced education?
So honestly, I really try to stay out of debt. So while I was in beauty school, I had $12,000. I was not working. I already had 2 kids and my husband. Thank God for my husband. But I had $12,000 I could spend the whole year. So I did not have a car payment. I did not buy new clothes. I did not buy makeup. Anything, Starbucks was rare. Anything I could not spend money on, I would do. I didn't have nails. I don't do lashes. I don't do my hair. Anything I could save money on, I would do, so I could spend my money on education. And also I started investigating for myself, what type of educator they were before we even invest. Because I feel like a lot of people, they just take classes to take them. And it's really important for us as the stylist to know exactly what we need and what type of learner we are. Is that educator that's going to teach me things that I really need for, to advance my skills. So I really invested a lot of time too, Instagram lives, following educators and seeing what they were teaching, and just really see if there was value for me to invest in it too.
That's amazing. You're so wise. And just amazing. I think that's such a great point because, and you know my style of coaching and mentoring and advising, but one of the challenges I see, like you mentioned, is having that clarity of purpose around why you would choose a particular class, why you would choose a particular educator, why you would choose a particular whatever, because not one size does not fit all in this case. And that's such a great point, is being so intentional with where you spend your time and where you spend your money. And I love how you said you went without, you just sacrificed. And, sacrifice is something that we sometimes, I don't know, sometimes we just forget because it sometimes seems overwhelming. But people ask me, how did you leave your big career and start from scratch in your 40s? And I'm I literally sacrificed everything, everything.
That's the thing too. And the other thing I always talk about too is I did a lot of assisting. So I would go ask salons while I was in beauty school, hey, can I just shadow for free? I'll sweep or do whatever you need help with, just to kind of see, so I could see what a commission salon was or a rental salon. And they would teach me different skills. And that's actually how I got my first assisting position, was through that as well, and a lot of education. So anytime now too, now that when I go to events, now I get invited as, hey, do you want to be my assistant or help out throughout the class? You can come for free. And I'm like, of course, like
Yeah.
my time, let's do it. So that's another way I do it as well.
Gosh, I always seem to get a little emotional on these, but this one, yeah, it just, yes, all the yes. Okay, so still on this topic, how have these classes helped you as an artist, as an owner, as an educator?
It has helped me so much. I feel like it has really given me an advantage. From the beginning, I had big dreams. Some people thought I was crazy or I wanted way too much for myself. And it has just really inspired me to be a better person as well. Because you get to see a lot of things behind the scenes, and being an assistant and being newer in the industry, people weren't always nice to me, per se. And there was some hard things I had to go through as well, but it has made me so much more stronger. And, you'll have to take accountability for your own success and your own education. Every time I go to a class, I'm the one who's always raising her hand and asking questions, because pretty much it's my responsibility, what I take out of it. But I think the biggest thing for me, it has been the educators, even though they're so big, whether it's on Instagram or in the education world, they're just such amazing human beings, you know what I mean? And I have been really lucky to build some really special friendships and relationships, and they have just
empowered
me and inspired me so much. And, so they have been a big part of
Have you always been this driven? Where does this fire come from in your belly?
So I was not always this driven. Let's talk real. So actually what happened is when I was 18, I was homeless. So I was living out of my car, and I had this one friend, and she lent me a hand. She's the one who introduced me to the insurance world. She let me live out of her couch. So I went through a little bit of a hard period. And during that really hard, dark period, I remember there was days I didn't even have money to eat, I would go to a taco truck, and so I had to scrape $1 to try to eat a taco for dinner. I remember during that time, I promised myself that this was just an episode in my life. It was just going to be a page, a turning point, and that no matter what happened, I was going to be on top, and I was going to make it happen for myself, by myself, and that I would be an example of one day for my children. And I just think becoming a mother has really helped me be driven, because it's not just about me. It's about being an example for my children.
And look at you.
I'm here being crazy.
I mean, seriously.
So, yeah, I think my children have helped me a lot with being driven and going for my dreams, because I want them to know that you can chase your dreams and you don't have to put excuses. If you're willing to work hard, you can make it happen. And they're my biggest inspiration and drive is my kids, for sure.
Wow. Speaking of children, I know that, we've been talking. I mean, you have your own business, you're an educator, you're a mother. How do you find your rhythm with all of this responsibility that you have?
Honestly, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on here, you have been a huge part of my success with that, because I was driving myself nuts. I was spending 12 hours on social media. I would be at dinner listening to somebody on live on my little headset. I mean, it was so unhealthy. I had no boundaries. No boundaries. And then, when I became part of Passion Squared and just with all your mentoring, you taught me that, Celeste, you're a human and you get to have a break and you get to, separate your time. So what I do now is I actually wake up at 5 a.m. to get work done, so to do the post or whatever I need to work on my business. Then I take my kids to school. Then when I'm working, in my business, I'm working in it. Then at night when I'm home, I'm home. So honestly, just waking up early and just prioritizing, whatever needs to get done, and just just doing it. And my kids know I love them. When I'm with them, I'm with them. If I'm traveling, it's part of mommy's work, you know. And I just think like there's so much mom shaming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because every time I meet somebody, oh, you have kids, so you're a mother, so who's taking care of your kids? You get like this whole question.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, they're fine. They're on their own. They're just, I'll be back in a few days.
I'll be back in 5 days. That's good.
I love some food out for them. They're going to be just fucking fine.
And you get so much of it that I'm just to the point where I'm like, I don't fucking care anymore. I'm like, people can judge me and say whatever they want. I just, I'm like, I'm chasing my dreams and taking care of my family, and I just get it done. And I just let go of the whole mom shaming guilt. I'm like, I'm a human too. And, it's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have my own space. And, everybody has their own time when it happens. And that's how life is. It ain't going to be perfect. So just enjoy it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. So you are very active on social. Speaking of social and waking up an hour early to work on your business. I love that. And if you're a night owl, you can stay up an hour later, whatever. You don't have to be a morning person to get your shit together and find your rhythm. But you are on the socials a lot. And you've mentioned this. You mentioned this when you first started while you were in beauty school, finding educators you wanted to engage with, whatever. How do you navigate the comparison game on the socials?
I really try to just like stay true to myself, like when I post or if I want to share something, it has to come from me, not what somebody else is doing. Like even like if you notice, like even with like my social media, it's like it's not what is really trending or what's in. It's whatever feels right to me. Because at the end of the day, like this is how I see it. If people want to talk to me or get to know me or become a guest or do business with me, whatever it is, you want to do it with me, Celeste, the person. And if I put out something that's not authentic and true to who I am, you're probably not going to freaking like me.
Right.
Give me the boot, and I just did all this work for nothing. So, and I just think there's so much beauty in just being yourself. And I think as a little girl, because, I got teased and I got bullied so bad when I was little. It has really taught me to just be whoever the hell I am, and it's okay. And I have really fought so hard to be in this place of acceptance of who I am that I'm just like, whatever, I'm like, the number has never mattered to me, and it still doesn't. I don't need a number to be successful. I just think it's just up to me, and I really want to inspire other women and like other people, like other mommies, like yourself.
Courage agrees with that.
Thank you, Courage.
I love that. Any advice you would give your younger self, your younger stylist self?
Any advice I would give my younger stylist self? What would I tell her? Oh my gosh.
Which in your case would be last year.
I'm like, well, yeah. It's okay to mess up. Part of growth is fucking up.
Yes.
And you got to do a lot of it. And I think that was the hardest part for me because I am such a perfectionist. And in a creative world, you can't be, there's no such thing as perfection. No. Some stuff happens by accident. And the more you want to grow, the more you have to be willing to risk. And sometimes with risk, you fuck up and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can fix it and you'll learn from it. That's why I wish I would have told my younger stylist self.
I love that. Do you have any Instagram pages that you go to for inspiration?
Well, I go to Passion Square. Not
that was a total setup. No, it wasn't.
I'm going to Photology. I think that's what it's called.
Ah, yes.
So funny. I love that. That was a good laugh.
It's a good page.
I love doing the whole like memes. I think it's called like crazy bitch problems or something like that. It's like this whole page of memes and it's hilarious. I just love funny stuff. I'm weird. And I just really love going to like thrift stores, which I know sounds so weird. I get inspiration of thrift stores. I don't know why. If it's the
I love
old
that.
stuff, new stuff.
Thrift stores and meme pages. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What about like a favorite like message or passage or book or any words that inspire you?
I love to read books.
What's your favorite book?
I find a lot of inspiration of books.
Of late, like recently.
I really love The Alchemist.
Mm.
My favorite book is The Alchemist because sometimes, our treasure is right there the whole time. And we go trying to find it everywhere else, and it's all right there. So, yeah, that was a really awesome book for me. Helped me out a lot.
That was one of my early favorites. It's actually, I think The Alchemist is on our A School recommended media list. It truly is such a beautiful message. I love that. I love that that's the book you chose.
Yeah, I love that book. That book was awesome.
I actually got that to reread recently. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love you.
Oh, Nina.
You are such an inspiration, Celeste. Where can we find you on the internet?
So you can find me on my Instagram. It's Celeste the Stylist. That's my name.
At Celeste the Stylist.
Celeste the Stylist. And yeah, so you can just find me on there. I also have like a podcast that I do, and it's also Celeste the Stylist. And I just like share just the little stuff I'm going through or I'm seeing, whatever, And I swear, like I always do. Yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Is that podcast available on iTunes?
It is.
Awesome. And it's called Celeste the Stylist podcast?
Yes, it is.
Go subscribe to that, you guys. Celeste, thank you so much for joining us today.
Nina, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. But honestly, thank you so much for Passion Square. I love it. I love to have like a space that's not just business, but it's also about like us being human and taking time for ourselves too. So thank you.
Thank you all so much for listening. Have an awesome day. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. To learn more about Passion Squared, you can visit us at passionsquared.net. You can find us on the gram and on Facebook at Passion Squared, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. We're so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. Have an awesome day, guys. Love you.